Dreamy soundscapes, beautiful vocals, and some of the coolest and most chill-out songs you will ever hear. This is how I describe the music composed by Zakbee and Leeep, the composers you and I are going to talk about in this episode. Let's kick off this episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Welcome to SEIYUU Lounge. I am your host Vanessa, and today's topic is 2D music composers and their quirks, Zakbee and Leeep. This time around I put in the same episode composers that have actually collaborated in some 2D music projects, sometimes even composed music for the same groups. And this is most likely due to how similar they are in vibe, although their music sounds nothing alike. If what I just said doesn't make any sense to you, let's start talking about these two awesome composers for 2D music and notice how similar yet different they are from each other. And I start with Zakbee. If you are a fan of the VAZZROCK franchise, or even the Tsuki Pro or Sun Pro franchises, chances are that you've already listened to a song composed with lyrics or with a vocal arrangement by Zakbee. Zakbee is one of the most exciting composers and arrangers currently active in the 2D music scene. However, his career goes back to 2005 and the indie pop rock scene, as he was the vocalist for the band Pomeranians. With the band ceasing activities a couple of years later, Zakbee started to compose, arrange, and write music for other artists. That journey started in 2014, writing music for several female seiyuu artists, such as Yuki Aoi and Hana Kanazawa. In 2018, Zakbee joined the team of composers working on the music in the VAZZROCK franchise. And that's when his name started to be on the spotlight for many fans of the stylish compositions found across Vazzy and Rockdown's repertoire. I'm not kidding. The best songs in the VAZZROCK franchise so far have all been composed or arranged by Zakbee. Yurete Itayo by Vazzy, Suki Sukis by Issa Sho and Reiji, Trick Trap Trick by Takaaki Mamiya, Break New Ground by Yuma Shirase and Sho Onoda, and even Turn Around Again by Reiji Amaha. All danceable tunes with a stylish retro twist to them. All upbeat, and many of these incredibly sexy. Whenever Zakbee is involved in VAZZROCK's music, you know for sure that the songs are going to be dreamy marvels and extremely fancy about their electronica. Now things change a little bit when you shift your attention to his work with Anthos in the Hanadol franchise. Yet, at the same time, it's easily understandable why Zakbee is one of the group's composers, and that is because Zakbee makes an amazing use of synths to create layered compositions that always give you a dreamy, floaty vibe, while at the same time making sure your feet are on the floor and you take in as much as you can from your surroundings. This is particularly noticeable in songs such as Taiuga ne Muteru Jikani by Haruta, Persona by Chise, Umbilical Lover by Anthos, and one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard, Mirage in Mirage by Anthos. Shift yet again your focus, this time around to TOBARI, and you'll find Zakbee as the composer of one of the most beautiful songs released in 2022, TOBARI's Gecko, or as most international fans may know this song, Moonlight. In the same year, Zakbee composed Mirage in Mirage by Anthos and Gecko by TOBARI. It is quite impressive how polarizing these songs are, yet at their core, they feel the same to me. They have the same soul, the vibe is there, and the unique touch of Zakbee's genius is there. Mirage in Mirage is led by an harp or zither-like instrument. Gecko is led by a beautiful shamisen melody and synth combo. There is an elegance to Zakbee's compositions that is undeniable the more you listen to the songs he has composed so far. As you can tell, Zakbee does have a preferred music genre in which he composes his songs: pop. He then adds EDM or retro synthwave into the mix to make most of his compositions shine and sound unique. From time to time he will compose city pop, rock, or even traditional Japanese music or music with ethnic instrumentalization. But that is still but a small part of his work so far. Zakbee's style is only noticeable if you pay close attention to the vocals, so if you want to know if you are listening to a song that was composed by him, you have to do that by paying attention to the vocals. So all the songs I suggested just now are all known for having intricate performances in which the vocalists have to harmonize with each other, use their vibrato and falsetto almost in tandem, as well as bringing out beautiful head voice notes. If the song is dreamy and gives you a floaty feeling while the vocals are melodic and complex, you're 50% of the times coming across Zakbee's songs. The other 50% is reserved to Takeshi Hama, but then again, the difference between both is that Zakbee doesn't explore orchestral music and his compositions are not dark like Takeshi Hama's. So if a song is upbeat, bubbly in some way but with a floaty, dreamy vibe, and the vocals are complex, congrats, you've just found one of Zakbee's compositions. And let me tell you, you will be hearing more about him in the future, as he has recently lent his talents to making the vocal arrangements for FYA'M and VadLip in the a cappella franchise, as well as working with Kentito in his solo career. Just make sure to fully appreciate the harmony between beautiful vocals and dreamy instrumentals. This is something really unique to Zakbee's compositions. Leeep. Out of all the composers I am covering in this series, Leeep is quite possibly the one you will be most unfamiliar with. Leeep has only been active as a composer since 2019. This is a pseudonym, so it is not known if Leeep is a solo composer or a team, so I'll be referring as they during this episode. The first franchise they have composed music for is the VAZZROCK franchise, and their songs composed so far are quite interesting. From rock to pop and electronica, you can find Leeep sharing fun compositions with you. But you can also find Leeep composing music to the dark, story-driven Hanadol franchise as one of the composers for Anthos. And it is here that you get to truly experience unique compositions, embracing a dreamy, atmospheric, synth-led instrumental while adding a lot of intensity on the bassline and beat. There is something about Leeep's compositions that always catches my attention. They are incredibly emotional. Leeep likes to mix hip-hop beats, adding triplets or trap, orchestral or brass stabs in the mix, with punchy bass lines while composing both down and up-tempo songs. If a song is really dreamy but the bass line is easily noticeable, almost as if it is on the spotlight, you're a step closer to Leeep's compositions. Just check Just Another Day by Issa and Sho in the VAZZROCK franchise, Love Is by Lihito, Kaoru and Setsuna, or even Might Be by Setsuna, all those songs part of the Hanadol franchise. Worth mentioning that Might Be, song performed by Shun Horie as Setsuna, features a shuffle-like beat hand in hand with a break beat. Those hip-hop influences run strong in Leeep's compositions. One thing you will notice is that hip-hop elements are present in all of those songs. Then it's that addictive punchy bassline powering its way through the song. As far as music genres they are best known for, you can add funk, rock, disco, hip-hop, pop, acoustic pop. There is a lot of versatility in Leeep's compositions as shown in the work done so far for the VAZZROCK franchise. I also love how they have joined the team for Anthos in the Flowering remix album. Leeep remixed Stay Away, song that while it sounded awesome at the time it was released, It is far from being a song that has aged well, or even considering how Anthos now sounds like a song that fits their repertoire. Leeep arrived, picked Stay Away, and gave it a unique acoustic twist while making the song incredibly nostalgic through a cinematic composition with a major focus on atmospheric synths and echoey vocals. You're taken to a beautiful soundscape and just want to close your eyes and take in everything there is in there as those harmonies on the vocal end envelop you in a warm hug. What Leeep did to this remix is something unbelievable that shows the potential and talent they have ready to be unleashed. Leeep's style is easily the mix between hip-hop and dreamy atmospheric synth-led compositions. At least that's what I can right now tell you it is their tell. Leeep's career as a composer is still very young, and I honestly don't know how their compositions will evolve. The unique composition style will certainly suffer changes and then, with time, get more refined and unique. And maybe, in a couple of years, you and I are here talking about how much Leeep has grown and how many awesome 2D groups they have composed music for. So right now I'd say you should pay attention to the vibe plus instrumentals combo. Dreamy instrumentals with a punchy bass line and a hip-hop beat. Regardless of the tempo, all of Leeep's compositions follow that formula. Zakbee and Leeep's compositions, similar yet completely different. When this episode started, I said that, in a way, the reason Zakbee and Leeep have been working in the same 2D music projects is because they share a similar vibe in their music. And truth is, they do. Both create songs with a synth-led instrumental. The background to their songs feels dreamlike due to them using atmospheric synths for the core of their compositions. Their music feels dreamy most of the times. Zakbee, however, is more consistent in that vibe, maintaining it across different music genres or unique twists on pop music. On the other hand, Leeep likes to crank up the bass line to the maximum while bringing a bit of hip-hop into the mix. Their compositions have more of an edge to them, an urban vibe, if you will. But you will say, "But Vanessa, I still can't tell the differences in their compositions." Well, a good way to notice how different their compositions sound like for the exact same group in the exact same album is if you check Anthos' Tell. Leeep composed Tell, an upbeat a cappella meets deep bass tune, while Zakbee composed Mirage in Mirage, a beautiful down-tempo ritualistic song. While on a similar tone, these two composers are quite unique, with quirks that easily set them apart from each other, as well as other composers. Now, this was a condensed journey through the music that Zakbee and Leeep have created so far for 2D music groups. Both have a laid-back vibe to their compositions, however, their preferred music genres are distinct, and thus you will notice their unique quirks here and there. Zakbee is all about dreamlike soundscapes that take form through a unique take on pop and synthwave music. Leeep has a different take on those same dreamy soundscapes, bringing an urban, hip-hop bass-driven sound to the spotlight no matter the music genre or tempo. I hope that, in a way, you've gotten interested in their compositions, even if you are not a fan of the 2D music projects they are working with, and give their music a shot. Now tell me, do you have a favorite song composed by Zakbee or Leeep? If yes, which is it and why? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, and remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of SEIYUU Lounge. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand at VAZZROCK's weekly male SEIYUU and music-related content. I'll return next week with another episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.